You know that feeling, right? The constant pressure of the clock ticking in the background? But what if I told you our obsession with minutes and hours is only telling half the story of time? In this explainer, we're going to dive into an ancient idea that could totally change how you experience every single day.
I mean, really think about that for a second. From the moment your alarm clock screams at you in the morning, to the back-to-back meetings, to that to-do list that just never seems to end, do you honestly feel like you're in the driver's seat, or are you just scrambling to keep up?
You see, our calendars try to tell us that 9 a.m. is the same as 3 p.m., that every hour has 60 perfectly identical minutes. But come on, you and I both know that's just not true. We've all had those moments, right? An amazing hour with a friend that flies by like a minute, or a single minute waiting for important news that stretches on for what feels like an eternity. The clock just doesn't capture the quality of our lives. And that brings us right to the heart of our modern problem. For the most part, we live under the tyranny of the clock. This relentless, one foot in front of the other, march forward. And living like that can feel, well, pretty suffocating.
The ancient Greeks, they actually had a name for this kind of time, Kronos. And in their myths, he was this terrifying titan who was so afraid of the future that he literally ate his own children. And wow, is that a perfect metaphor for our world or what? Our obsession with productivity, with Kronos, it so often consumes the very things we claim we're making time for. Our joy, our connections, our creativity.
And look, this isn't just some philosophical idea. It has real-world consequences. Scientists even have a term for the constant mismatch between our internal body clock and our rigid schedules. They call it social jet lag. And it leads to more stress, burnout, and that awful feeling that we're just cogs in a machine, whether you're in an office or working from home.
But what if there was another way to look at all this? Well, like I said, the ancient Greeks were way ahead of us. They knew the clock wasn't the whole story. They didn't just have one word for time, they had two.
So check this out. This slide really breaks down two completely different mindsets. Over on the left, you've got Chronos. That's all about quantity, the clock, to-do lists, and this idea of spending time. But on the right, you have Kairos. That's qualitative. It's about the right season or the perfect opening. It's not about spending time, it's about timing your life.
So when the world is Kairos? Well, the word actually comes from archery. It was that split-second perfect opening an archer needed to shoot their arrow through to hit the bullseye. It's the ripe, opportune moment. You see, Kairos doesn't ask, what time is it? It asks a much, much deeper question. What is this time for?
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little out there, a little mystical, right? But it's actually deeply rooted in modern science. These ripe moments, they aren't just random magic. They're the result of very specific things happening inside our own brains.
In fact, I'm willing to bet you've already experienced this. Modern psychology has a name for it, the flow state. You know, when you're so completely absorbed in something, playing music, coding, even just having a great conversation, that hours feel like minutes, the clock just disappears. That, right there, is a sustained Kairos moment.
Okay, so how do we get more of these amazing aha moments? Well, neuroscience actually gives us a kind of recipe. First, you do the focused, head-down work. That's your Chronos time. But then, and this is key, you have to step away. You enter a diffuse mode by relaxing, taking a walk, or hopping in the shower. And that's when it hits you. The insight arrives. Your brain makes a brand new connection. See? You can't force Kairos to show up, but you can absolutely set the stage for it.
All right, let's get really practical here. I love this next idea. Probably the best way to think about balancing these two forces in your life is with a metaphor. Your anchor and your sail. First up, Kronos. Now, it's easy to paint Kronos as the bad guy, but it's not. Kronos is your anchor. You absolutely need it. It gives you the structure you need to pay your bills, meet deadlines, and handle your responsibilities. Without Kronos, life would just be chaos. It keeps you grounded.
But here's the thing, right? An anchor by itself just keeps you stuck in one spot. That's where Kairos comes in. Kairos is your sail. It's the thing that catches those unpredictable winds of opportunity, of insight, of grace. It's what actually moves you forward in life. And the problem for so many of us is that we're all anchor and no sail.
So the big question is, how do we fix that? How do we stop being so weighed down by the anchor and actually learn to raise our sail and catch some of that wind? Let's get into some real, actionable practices you can use.
Okay, here are 3 things you can literally start doing today. First, create what are called palaces in time. Just carve out one tech-free hour every day where the clock is banned, no agenda, just be. Second, learn to listen for the season. Before you have that big, tough conversation or make a huge decision, don't just look at your calendar. Feel it out. Ask, is the timing right for this? And third, capture the flow. When that magical moment of inspiration hits and you're in the zone, protect it fiercely. Seriously, cancel that next meeting if you have to. That 1 hour of flow could be worth more than a whole day of just going through the motions.
You know, when you boil it all down, it really comes back to this incredible quote. Chronos, well, that's about counting the years in your life. It's all about quantity. But Kairos is about the life in your years. It's all about quality, depth, and meaning.
So I'm going to leave you with that one simple, powerful question that Kairos is always asking. As you go about your day and your week, don't just ask yourself, what time is it? Start asking, what is this time for? Seriously, try it. The answer might just change everything.